We're moving on to this video here. We're watching this, guys. We're watching this now. So I've been putting off watching this video because I really wanted to react to it on stream. EA is worse than you thought by Big Boss. We also watched the Concord one. He did a video on Concord, which is, I believe it's his most recent video. Lock in. It's 20 minutes long. We're gonna be here for a little bit.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN.
Yeah, most of his videos are sponsored by NordVPN.
Gaming is massive.
Oh no,
Every day,
that's the
millions boot up their
PewDiePie
PCs,
clip.
Consoles, even phones. and go
Consoles.
online. It's an industry that's tripled in just under a couple of decades.
True.
And is now actually expected to become the top entertainment industry by the end of the year.
Mhm.
Stocks are up.
It is
Cash is
currently.
in.
It does more money than like movies. Was it what was the statistics? It brings in more money than movies, and then there was like another thing as well. It was like movies and another thing combined give less money than video games or something like that. I think I could just be tripping.
And the future looks bright. But bubbling just under the surface,
Send it to the Discord,
of
I might.
growth is something sinister. Unspeakable actions.
Oh no.
Horrors only the most depraved could fathom.
Oh god. Oh Jesus,
$7
no.
digital fridges. An
Yeah.
internet requirement for a game that's single player.
Mm-hmm.
And is my game supposed to look like that?
No, it's
That
not.
man's head is spinning around. That's a
I love knocking put teeth.
Excuse me?
gun pointing the wrong way. Is that an
Yeah.
advert? In a game I paid 60 quid for, why is my screen slowly dying? This game has 5
Oh
game
yeah,
modes. The
ads
last
in
one had
games
9.
is
That physics
crazy.
won't unlock us through a loot crate system.
What was that? Jiggle
Graphics are actually
physics.
worse than the last game. And the list
What
goes
in
on.
the
Rushed,
gods?
buggy, and overly monetized games aren't anomalies either.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, the last few years have actually seen more companies jump on board. The
Mm.
process goes a bit like this. You
Todd Howard, the GOAT, the man himself.
start by licensing a game. This can be a standalone release or a completely new franchise, but preferably
Gay.
it's a sequel in an already well-known franchise with a pre-established fan base. Once you've worked out the details, it's time to share your grand vision to the development team. And then
I will die on this hill. I can understand why companies will choose to go like the live service. I know they're not specifically talking like live service, like as a whole, like, but live service is a part of it. I will die on this hill. I think that single player games are better than multiplayer games. What, like, for me at least, I would rather play like a single player game, like most single player games, over the latest COD. You know, I would much rather play. Heck, I would much rather play like COD's campaign, like a Call of Duty campaign, over most online Call of. I know that's a controversial opinion, but I would rather play some Call of Duty campaigns over most Call of Duty multiplayers. If that makes sense.
and give them an impossible time frame to make it. Once you're around a year or two,
I
into
still
the
think that like if you are passionate about your job, like if you have like a bunch of people that are passionate about making a specific game, like even just indie games, dude, indie games like sometimes outsell AAA games. Stop to think about that for a second, right? A big company with like hundreds of employees spend years making a phenomenal game with amazing graphics, right? And then Omocat releases Omori, outsells Call of Duty. Like what? 5 people worked on Omori? I don't even know how many people worked on it, but like it was a handful of people against like a Call of Duty game, you know? Like it's just like story games just like over and over again prove to be just better, just objectively better, you know? Because there's so many like just multiplayer games. Like, I don't feel the need. I know that now this year is a popular opinion. I stand by this. Like, you don't need to release a Call of Duty game every year, right? Can we all agree on that? We don't need a Call of Duty game every year, you know? We don't. Hollow Knight as well. Yeah, Hollow Knight's another great example. Hollow Knight has outsold. Is that a word? It sold more units than like a lot of AAA games, you know? It's just like it just hammers in, like, you know, it's just like more proof. Celeste, another one. Yeah, true.
development, it's time for the big reveal.
Then again, like if you do have a AAA, it's not
Make sure
like
to push
that
the
like big
pre-order.
companies can't make good games. Like if you do have a big team behind a single player game, like you can that is passionate about the IP, like you can have some absolute bangers. Like I know that it's technically multiplayer, but for example, Baldur's Gate 3. I never finished the game, but I played a little bit, and I can absolutely agree that it deserved Game of the Year. Like it was a great game. Like it was a team that was, well, I think was passionate about the game that they were creating, and like it turned out great. It was a great game. Even though I didn't finish it, I can objectively say that it was like probably the best game that has come out in recent times. It was phenomenal. It was a great game.
Order bonuses and limited editions. At this point, you can sit back and relax.
It's single player. Yeah, it
The
has
game doesn't
multiplayer
have
though.
to
It has
actually
multiplayer
be
to it.
shown
Multiplayer
in
elements.
screen.
It's mostly single player.
In fact, it doesn't even have to function on launch day. Or ever.
Most of them
But if
don't.
you're feeling generous, you can finish the game later on down the line. If you've played your cards extra well, your game is digital only, and your customer service team rejects every refund request that comes their way.
Yeah,
Throw in some loot boxes. and
76 right there.
cosmetics, Package some extra maps for the same price as the original game,
Mm-hmm.
and you're done. Now,
Money.
some people aren't very happy about this, and in turn, point to who they deem is the tip of the spear of these tactics.
The
That's
CEO.
Electronic Arts.
Mm-hmm.
EA has been seen as the sort of pioneer
big
of these
boys.
practices for over a decade now, constantly pushing the envelope as to what they can monetize, and gaining such a reputation from it that its very logo on the front cover of a game is now seen
Yeah.
as an immediate red flag.
That's true.
Articles
Who was it that said like the next generation of consoles we might start seeing games that are like $100 each? I saw like an article about that, and I saw like a bunch of backlash from it as well. I love Persona 5. I love Persona 5, right? If Persona 5 were to release like a few years from now, and it would cost like 100 euros or $100, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Right? Can we agree? Can we unanimously agree that there is no game worth $100? There are no games worth $100. Right? Can we agree on that? Unless like, I don't know, characters from the game itself like come out of my screen and like give me a handshake, but like a game is not worth $100. Can we just agree on that, please?
and posts calling them out clog various subreddits.
True,
Countless
true.
development teams have been purchased, milked, and then shut down by them. And they've
excuse
been
me.
voted most hated company in America. Twice in a row. The situation isn't good. But
Like,
believe it or
listen,
not,
I have nothing against. I don't buy games for $60. I usually wait for a sale, right? I never buy things full price unless it's something that I'm very excited for. Brother, I will never spend more than $70 on a game. Never. It can be like the most hyped up game. I will not be spending more than $70 on a game. I'm sorry, dude. I can understand like buying games full price, but there's just like a point where you can't, dude. Didn't like PS5 games start costing like 80 euros, like $80? Weren't some PS5 games costing like $80? I feel like I saw that somewhere.
there was a time when EA wasn't universally despised. EA became what it is today gradually, and it all started in the mid-90s.
Not be spending $30 for a game. No, I can understand that, though I rarely do it.
It's the early 80s.
Good evening.
Arcade
Good
gaming
evening.
is big. The biggest it's ever been. And
Pac-Man.
the PC market is beginning to grow as well. In 1982, ex-Apple employee William Hawkins decides he wants a piece and establishes a game publishing company called
Got
Amazing
Elden for 30.
Software. Then later changes the name to Electronic Arts.
Yay,
The founding
baby.
philosophy of the company is simple.
Yes, sir.
Treat software like art and the developers like artists. In the early years, EA stick to that, even going as far as crediting the game designers and programmers on the front covers of their games. They
Wait,
make
really?
a nice return on investment over the next few years, funding
Oh.
talented developers who produce games like Wasteland, the game that would be the precursor to Fallout. However, some
Yeah?
developers eventually start failing to meet deadlines. That, and the end products begin to stray from what was agreed on. So EA then begins experimenting with in-house development. EA Sports is established in 1991, and they begin buying up exclusive licenses to various sports leagues. They slap some famous people on the front cover and start pumping out yearly releases with very few changes between them.
John Cena.
A few months later, Hawkins steps down as CEO.
No.
And instead sets his eyes on console development. He goes on to create 3DO. Specifications
3DO? What is that?
console in gaming history.
It flops.
3DO closes operations 12 years later.
Yeah.
Hawkins also blows a significant portion of his money on private jets and tax issues.
Why?
Anyway, another man takes the mantle.
Larry.
And he has a new philosophy.
Money. That's my philosophy.
It's now the mid-90s, and EA are still pumping out annual sports games, but they've also started buying...
Okay, now this is a controversial opinion that I also have. I'm not the biggest sports fan. I just don't like sports. I like volley and badminton. I don't watch any tournaments. I refuse to do so. I just like playing them. I just don't feel the need to have a sports game every year, dude. That's like another one. To me, I know that it's controversial. Then again, like I don't play them. I just look at like the very surface level things. Like, yeah, I don't need a FIFA game every year, dude. I don't even need a FIFA game. Then again, that's just me. Again, that's me. There is no need to. The same way I don't need a Call of Duty game every year, I don't need a FIFA game every year. You don't need a FIFA game every year, dude.
It's in game developers.
And I actually like COD.
From 1992 to 1998, they purchased Westwood Studios, the minds behind the Command and Conquer series,
Command and Conquer,
the people behind The Sims,
and
Bullfrog and Origin, two other talented developers at the time. Most of these studios are shut down by 2005.
Oh Jesus,
EA also
that's when I was
signed
born.
a deal with the NFL for exclusive rights to player and team names, essentially killing off all current competition.
What did that say? You're the most normal neurodivergent person I've ever met. Brother.
This is when EA start to get a bit of a reputation.
I'm not.
But this would be but a small taste of things to come.
Dude, Big Boss's editing is awesome,
but
dude.
before we get onto that, do
Sponsor?
you like privacy?
Yes, I do, but I'm sorry, but the
also-
viewership drops to like 30% if I don't skip the ads. I'm sorry, Big Boss. I'm sorry. Yes, go download NordVPN, please. I promise it's a good thing. They haven't sponsored me.
Somewhat of a turnaround in branding.
They've never sponsored me.
Produces multiple promising IPs, including Mass Effect and Dead Space. These weren't just being churned out year after year either.
Dead Space. I really want to play Dead Space as well. It looks really cool.
Pandemic being the developer
Autism
behind
Aura.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh, Battlefront. Battlefront was awesome. Battlefront used to be
Now
so
also
good.
a decade into EA's annual release of FIFA, and it's around this time that somebody has an extraordinary idea. A system where
I'm not autistic. I have ADHD, which is pretty much the same thing, I think.
players create their very own
I'm just kidding.
teams. People would acquire players for their team by opening randomized packs. Using the
Oh
credits they earned
no.
in-game.
Is this where it started? This is like the early stages of it. This is like the early stages of it. I don't know if you could spend real money. Again, this is like pretty old games. I don't know if you could spend money on them, but it's giving microtransactions. It's giving microtransactions.
Ultimate Team first appeared in a spin-off to FIFA in 2007, but would later make its way into FIFA 9. But this time there was a
FIFA
twist.
9, dude.
Pay for packs with your mum's credit card. The
Oh
idea was
no.
revolutionary. Packs begin to appear in games like Mass Effect and Battlefield, and eventually spread to other publishers' games.
Oh, jetpacking.
The pay-to-win loot box.
Oh yeah, wait. I'm pretty sure that was World War II. I used to play WW2, COD WW2. It was so bad, but it was like one of the only COD games that I used to have back on the Xbox. Pay to win loot boxes. We love to see it. Modern EA.
So it's 2013, and EA have a little bit of a problem.
They do.
Not only are they now hated by almost everyone, but they're bringing in billions of dollars a year. And
Yeah, it's
still
because of the
managing-
damn FIFA games. They always sell. That's the thing. That's the thing. The FIFA games actually sell. Like Call of Duty, people complain that, oh, we don't need a Call of Duty game every year. And they still buy Call of Duty every single year. Like, bro, you don't need
to
to.
lose money. Something has to change. The
Get rid of people.
CEO was immediately exiled.
Oh,
The man who would replace him is Andrew Wilson, former FIFA producer, and also that man
Is
who
he?
greenlit FIFA Ultimate Team a few years ago. Also, the CEO that replaces Hawkins in 1991 is made
Hawk-Tua.
executive chairman.
oh
By this point,
no.
it's
Is he?
clear which direction the company is headed.
They want to make just the most
And it
money.
works wonders for them. This is a graph of EA's profits before and after Wilson becomes CEO. EA also acquires the exclusive 10-year rights to make Star Wars games, and guys get to work on rebooting the Star Wars Battlefront series that EA had killed off a few years prior.
Battlefront 2.
Trailers
oh no, wait, this is the...
And it's official.
Oh, yeah.
A new Star Wars game is coming. November
Never forgot this existed.
2015. November finally comes around, and commercially, the game does really well.
Yeah. Okay, I will say, I have played a little bit of Battlefront. I've never played Battlefront 2 though. I actually like this game. This game is not bad. I will say that. I haven't played too much of it, but from what I have played with friends, it's not too bad. It's actually not that bad, even though it is an EA game.
There are issues. The game
it's not a perfect game by any means, but it was fun. For the time that I've spent with it, it was pretty fun.
Star Wars Battlefront. So people
not too many complaints.
An experience similar to the first two games. This was not that. For starters, there wasn't a campaign, space battles were gone, and there was just way less content than the last one. And that was a game that came out in 2005. On top of that,
when I was born.
There was a DLC pass that was almost as much as the game itself.
Oh, yeah.
So the game's not amazing, but it didn't matter. BioWare was coming back, and their next masterpiece...
Couldn't you also, like, buy to get the stuff, like, I don't know if it was Battlefront 2 or 1, but couldn't you, like, buy, like, spend money to get the good characters early or something like that? I'm pretty sure it was from Battlefront. I'm not sure.
Effect Andromeda.
You could. W.
It's finally 2017, and BioWare, the masters of storytelling, are back. A new Mass Effect game. $40 million spent.
Oh no.
5 years in the making. It was going to be incredible.
I remember the hype for this game.
It's like, putting your own child out there, right?
I remember the hype for Andromeda was absurd. It was absurd. And when it came out, oh god. Yeah, it was really bad. It was bad. It was so buggy, so glitchy. It wasn't good. Oh no. Oh no.
The game was terrible.
The game was terrible.
The game's script was tight.
My face is tired.
The animations just weren't quite there.
Yeah, it looked bad.
It to make her face less tired. There were also quite a few bugs. The faces were a bit off. Voice acting wasn't great.
To whom? And your goddamn father.
Terrible AI. And the main character looked like she injected half a pound of heroin before every cutscene. The facial animations were so bad that BioWare spent 4 months patching them. The final product still left a lot to be desired.
That's so bad.
Besides
I didn't know it was that bad.
The story and writing wasn't great, and the only thing holding the game up was its alright gameplay.
Was it alright?
It didn't take long for BioWare to jump ship. Alright, Andromeda's a write-off, but it's okay.
You guys stole it from me.
With Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, yeah, Battlefront 2.
At the end of the year.
I have never played this one. I have not played Battlefront 2. I heard it was really bad.
Going to be the definitive Star Wars game. EA had promised that they'd learnt their lesson from the first game. And
I heard that it was really bad. I'm not sure if it was.
With this one, classes were back, a campaign, space battles,
a campaign,
3 generations, and best of all, there was no season pass.
That's a lie.
Finally the classic
this is an EA game.
Experience? Launch day finally arrives, and millions of players log in and start playing. EA executives are gathered round, clutching their chairs and sweating profusely.
As you
but
should.
Then something extraordinary happens. People like the game.
Oh, do they?
They've done it. Delivered on their promises.
Wait, what?
Made a game that people thoroughly enjoyed without major issues. The executives breathe a sigh of relief. But just as Andrew goes to take a beer from the mini fridge,
oh no,
something happens.
It happened.
Articles appear. Message boards light up. My god.
Huh?
It's Reddit.
It's Reddit again. Oh no.
After playing a few games, people started to realise something. They couldn't play as Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, because they're OP.
They were locked behind a 120,000 credit paywall.
Oh,
that sounded like a lot of credits, so someone on Reddit began the equations. A match takes around 11 minutes. You earn around 275 credits per match. That's 25 credits per minute. That's about 2,400 minutes per unlock, and my god,
Oh no.
It worked out that a total of 80 hours of gameplay was necessary to unlock the two. Or you could just, you know. They weren't the only things that were borderline locked behind a paywall either. The entire progression system was too. EA had essentially ham-fisted the pack system of FIFA into a Star Wars Battlefront game. Now at this point, a few other shooters had also developed loot box systems.
Yeah, but
there was just one difference. They were for cosmetics.
Oh, wait, this wasn't just for cosmetics. It was for like actual things that you could use. Oh, that sounds horrendous. Oh, that sounds awful.
The game was pay to win. People went
Battlefront is okay.
It wasn't long before EA's PR team would
doesn't sound like it.
But this only stoked the fire.
Oh, I mean, it sounds pretty. Well, it does sound like decent, but like again, it's got EA's DNA all over it. I can tell.
By this point, even mainstream media outlets were reporting it.
Yeah,
it was over. EA had lost. They announced a revamping of the progression system and got to work. We're not done yet though. It turns out that it wasn't just gamers and the media that enraged, but governments around the globe too.
Governments?
Discussion started. Politicians held meetings. And eventually, the verdict was in. Guilty. EA had enabled child gambling on their online Star Wars video game.
Let's go!
UK
we love to see it.
About loot box regulation. American senators propose a bill that would regulate loot boxes. Belgium outright bans them. EA would later come out and claim that loot boxes were fun. And just like opening a Kinder Egg.
Oh, I remember this. There was like a whole meme on the internet. People started talking about it. Yeah, it's just like opening a Kinder Egg. No. No, it's not. No. Because at least you get the chocolate. Here, what do you get? Sadness. You don't get the chocolate. You get sadness. They made a lot of changes when I played it too. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Special characters are free to play now. Yeah, that's probably like makes more sense, you know? Trump Donaldson.
Okay. So Battlefront 2, also not too great, but it was alright.
It was okay.
Had another shot with Battlefield 5.
This is the worst Battlefield I've ever played. Hands down, this is like the worst. Battlefield. I didn't like 1, but Battlefield 5 was horrendous.
Out late next year.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like it game.
1 was very well received, so people were excited to see what DICE had in store a couple of years later. That was until the trailer dropped. The game seemed to take place in World War II, but something.
Oh yeah, there's I remember when this trailer dropped. There was a girl with like a mechanical arm here.
It caught people's eye. There was a woman with a massive claw arm.
Yeah, that.
Also, lots of face paint and a katana. People were furious. Countless Reddit threads, tweets, and comments questioning these design decisions appear instantly, and EA have to respond again.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It had like that girl in it. Yeah.
EA's chief design officer.
Like it completely strayed from the Battlefield formula of like realism, you know, with like destruction elements to it. Like I think there were still destructive elements in it, but I remember when this trailer dropped. I vividly remember this. I remember people being mad at it because I watched the trailer. This was like from EA. I think they announced it. I think they announced it during like an EA conference, and I remember watching this trailer drop. And seeing the girl with like the arm, and like I was sort of confused because I'm not the biggest Battlefield like fan, right? But I know that like it is supposed to be realistic, and then I saw like the arm, and I was like, wait, what?
Patrick Sutherland.
This is Battlefield.
Calls the fans behind the backlash uneducated.
Yeah.
He also tells them that if it's such a big problem, just don't buy the game.
So they don't buy the game.
5 sales were down by more than half. Sutherland would leave EA later that year. Aside from that, the game had many missing features at launch. It was also not much of a step forward from Battlefield 1. Okay, we have one.
I did not like 5. I'm sorry. I did not like it. Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. Oh no, we're here. It's Anthem.
BioWare has been working on for 7 years, and this time, it's BioWare's A-Team calling the shots. It's a whole new franchise, handcrafted from the ground up. This is the one, fellas.
You physically can't play this game anymore.
Before we get into Anthem's reception, I think it's important we talk a little bit about the game's development.
Yeah.
In 2012, EA gave BioWare the go-ahead to create a new IP. They then
the year the world ended.
Gave them 7 years to produce a finished product. BioWare spends a lot of that time on pre-production. A lot of that time.
Yeah.
Like 5.5 years.
Yeah, pre-production, for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure is basically like making small decisions. Like sorry, I didn't mean to skip this. It's basically like deciding, oh, what like texture should we use for, like, for example, for here, oh, what texture should we use for this grass, or oh, like what thing should we do here? It's like it's not like big important thing. It's basically like very small decisions that don't really matter that much, you know?
Production basically consists of massive back and forths in meetings that ultimately resolve nothing and get...
Oh, yeah, okay, so he just explains it here, I'm sorry.
Time starts to pass, and eventually they realise they only have 16 months to actually develop the game.
Yeah.
The game was released in February 2019.
Never heard of Anthem? Oh, brother.
Development must have started around July 2017. Wait a minute. That's after they revealed the game.
Oh yeah, this is another thing. They made the trailer for the game without having even started production on the game. Right? Let that sink in. They released a trailer for the game where they didn't even know what the game was supposed to look like. Let that sink in for a second. That's how rushed this game was. The team knew what they were going to make based off of this trailer.
All of this? Yeah, they didn't actually have a game at this point.
Yeah, they didn't have a game.
The game was going to be at the same time as the developers.
That's what I said. Yeah.
So 16 months to develop a AAA game. That's a heavy time crunch.
It is.
And on top of that, Anthem's being built on Frostbite.
How do you do that? You just gotta be different, bro. You gotta be built different. You gotta be EA. That's how you do it.
The same engine fueling DICE's games for the last decade. This is a powerful engine, but it's difficult to use, and not really meant for the kind of game that BioWare are making. This means that they have to create a lot of systems from the ground up.
Didn't they have to make like their own game engine or something? Or maybe I'm just confusing it with another game. I'm pretty sure they had to do something like that as well.
There were also things that just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
For example, BioWare wanted massive creatures in the game, but Frostbite struggled to handle it. The idea was just scrapped. So a lot of the stuff they'd spent 5 years planning couldn't even be coded into the game.
Yeah, okay. So think about this, right? They spent 5.5 years coming up with like small little things. I'm pretty sure the concept art, like the ones right there, were from that period as well. So like they have these ideas, right? They're laying out these ideas. And then 5.5 years into the game's quote unquote development, keep in mind they haven't even started developing the game at this point. Trailer is released, right? That basically shows this that just shows this open world game with like mechs, big creatures, and just like a bunch of cool stuff, right? The team at that point, only at that point do they know what they have to make now, right? And that's when they start development. Oh, dude, EA sucks so bad. Oh,
okay,
God.
A lot of pressure now. And EA decide to start taking engineers from BioWare to help on other games. The developers start to realise that the game they wanted to make cannot be created in the current time frame.
Yeah.
So they cut back on scope. At the start of development, they wanted to have multiple cities. Couldn't do that.
Nope,
so they then
just
went
one.
for a city and a player-created outpost. Couldn't do that.
Nope.
One city and a mobile ship.
Can't do that.
Nope. They ended up with a fort. Also, BioWare's management issue an official mandate to staff. The game was to be unmemeable. Unlike
unmemeable.
One avenue of meme prevention was actual face animation, so they spent a lot more money on motion capture. Really advanced motion capture.
Yeah, look at this, dude.
And they only had one shot at it because of the high cost. They ended up changing a few of the missions later down the line, only to realise that they had no time or money to recapture the audio and footage. This results in dialogue that doesn't really make any sense. The team also doesn't really know
what does that mean?
And what isn't, because they were rarely able to actually playtest the game.
What does that mean?
Because BioWare had server problems that prevented them from logging on. They're essentially making the game blind. Now, the majority of this is actually the fault of BioWare's upper management and not EA. So even in the game's current condition, EA aren't going to budge on the release date. They scrape together all they possibly can in the few short months left. And on the 22nd of February, Anthem launches. Turns out it's even worse than Andromeda.
Yeah, it's bad. It went down in history as one of the worst games ever made. I'm not even kidding. Andromeda went down as one of the worst games ever made. It is like, it wasn't Concord levels of bad, but it was damn close. It was close. It was so bad that they closed the game. That's why I said earlier, like, you can't physically play this game anymore, because they closed the game. You can't buy the game. I'm pretty sure you can't buy the game anymore. You can't play it.
Problems is on PS4. Playing Anthem sometimes causes its entire operating system to shut down.
Yeah, that too. That was another thing.
In some cases, they take longer than actual missions. And as we've come to expect by now, the game is also very buggy.
Yep.
Besides that, the game also lacks content.
Yep.
It's a looter shooter, but the loot's a bit broken.
Yep.
The story's half-assed, and 2/3 of the end game are recycled from previous levels. Some players also noticed that the game they received was a bit different to what EA advertised a few years ago. Once again, that's because development hadn't even started at that point.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the game goes on to be the US's 5th best-selling game in 2019. The main caveat was that the people that did buy it were not big fans. As a result, it lost a significant portion of its player base in the first couple of months. BioWare is currently planning to rebuild the game from the ground up.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, EA march on.
Did it not close? Am I stupid?
On a daily basis, on what seems like a never-ending mission to bankrupt every studio under them.
Yeah, pretty
and although
much.
EA has made a few reparations, and the hate train has died down as a result, it's only a matter of time until the conductor steps back on board, and those wheels start spinning again.
No, it shouldn't. It should stop. We need to get rid of EA, dude. We can't have EA. EA is bad. EA bad. We get rid of EA, please.